Along with individual experts, Surgeon Masters brings you life improvement strategies in 10 minutes. These proven principles and strategies are easy to learn and can be applied immediately, allowing you to practice your best. Here's your host, Jeff Smith.
On this episode of the Surgeon Masters mini podcast, I have with me Dr. Alan Jones, an orthopedic surgeon and good friend of mine. Welcome, Alan.
Jeff, thanks for having me here.
What have you been doing lately? You look like you're in great shape.
I'm a pretty avid runner, and so I've run consistently several times a week for, at least 15 years. And the last at least 10 years, I've done at least one marathon a year. Not so much to win, but to maximize my health and longevity, et cetera. But recently, it may be something we should talk about is I've done some of my training in zone 2. And I think many people have heard about it, but the idea is you do a workout in your heart rate zone, which is actually relatively easy. And the stimulus that gives your body increases your fitness better than a workout at a little bit higher intensity, which is interesting.
It is interesting, and I'll let you comment further, but the thing that intrigues me, knowing the surgeon mentality and knowing my friends and colleagues, is there's that, if you will, and maybe appropriately so, bravado of like the higher zone training, right? Like I can train at this high level, but you're kind of highlighting that there's a nuance here that they might be missing.
Absolutely. And before I started doing trying to do zone 2 training, I would just say, I'm going to run 5 miles or 7 miles or whatever for that day. And the faster I went, the better I thought it was. And even when I was on a training plan that had a recommended pace, I would always try and beat that pace, because thinking more was better. And you're exactly right. That surgeon mentality is, it says to run at an 8-minute pace, I'm going to run at 7:30 just because I'm special. So I made a concerted effort to run at a relatively easy pace, and I use a heart rate monitor. I use my watch and made some workouts to keep it well within zone 2. And what I found surprised me.
Tell us what you found.
Well, one, it was still hard to do. At least when you start, you have to go surprisingly slow, and it's surprisingly easy, and you don't feel like you're doing anything. But with just a little practice, it gets a lot easier for whatever reason to go faster and still keep your heart rate down. The other thing I think that maybe it's not so surprising is what I was thinking about, and my mental state makes a big difference on my heart rate. So if I'm running and I'm ruminating about all the drama that happened at work that day, my heart rate goes way up, and I have to stop thinking about that and calm my mind and just think about more of a meditative state. And it's surprising how much your heart rate can go down. Same sure breathing. If you take deep breaths and breathe slower, and sometimes I'll breathe according to my steps. So I'll breathe in for 4 steps and breathe out for 4 steps. That'll lower your heart rate. And somehow or another, you end up going just a little bit easier or faster. Sometimes I'll call a friend and just have a conversation and run while I'm talking to them. So the thing that I've enjoyed the most about it, I think, maybe the most significant benefit, is that at the end of the workout, I feel better than I did when I did to start. And I have energy left to do something else if I want to. If I want to go out to dinner, or I want to do it before work, but I have a lot of cases, whatever, it doesn't wipe you out. And you could do it every single day and not feel like you're getting burned out.
A lot of interesting things you mentioned there, and I don't know if we have time to go into detail on everything, but it seems like as a part-time athlete, and having been one more in the past, there's a little bit of this sense of focus. I'm going to go on the run and quantity. And I think what I'm hearing is that the nuance of this level 2 training that you're describing is that conceptually it's hard to transition our mentality about how to do the run, but the benefits are significant. And some of the nuances are that you have to focus on something like your breath, or focus on, phoning a friend to be a distracting activity from whatever else seems to be raising your heart rate to get it to come back down.
Oh, absolutely. I've transitioned from having a target of running 5 miles or whatever. It's by time. So I'll run for 45 minutes or an hour or whatever I have time to do, and just maintain that heart rate. And it's at a relatively easy pace.
And if I understand correctly, pretty much the whole time your goal from beginning to end is zone 2.
Correct. It takes a few minutes to warm up, 2 or 3 minutes, your heart rate will be too low. And, it's also conditions dependent. So, when it's hot and humid, then you have to go even slower. And when it's nice and cool and crisp, you'll be surprised how fast you can go and maintain that lower heart rate.
And it sounds like a shifting of, hey, I'm going to run harder because I have a shorter time, or I'm going to run easier because I have a longer time. It's really focus on the zone 2, no matter what time you have. And then a huge benefit to you is that after that's time over, you still have energy to do other things.
Exactly. And I think you sort of hinted on it. The mentality benefit of it is probably as much or more as the fitness element of it. Now, I will say after doing, incorporating, not all my workouts are zone 2, but the majority are, my VO2 max is now higher than it's been since 2017. So it certainly has had a positive effect on my fitness, but I think my enjoyment of it, it's like getting good sleep or spending some time meditating. It really does make my overall well-being feel better.
That's fantastic. I mean, it really sounds like a good selling point. And we have a little bit more time. What are any other key points that you wanted to share today?
Like I said, I think you should incorporate it into your fitness routine. And you certainly could do a zone 2 workout on a bike or running or other treadmill, things like that. I think your listeners may want to give it a try. And I would say the best way to experiment is plan a zone 2 workout, do the workout, but before you start, think about how you're feeling sort of mentally and physically. And then at the end of the workout, see how you feel. And you may be surprised you actually feel a little better rather than wiped out from cranking out a workout that's more demanding. Now, I think you also have to incorporate that within a more rounded, some of your workouts should be hard and some of them should be sprinting or striding. But like I said, I think I've gotten more out of the zone 2 workouts than I have of any other thing I've changed in my exercise routine in the last 10 years.
Well, you might have just done it in a nice overview, but just as final take-home message or ask or suggestion from an audience, how would you summarize it?
Give zone 2 workouts a try. I think you'll benefit from it from your fitness perspective, but I think you may be surprised that your mental state, your happiness, and your enjoyment of it may outweigh the training benefits.
I love it, and I already know I'm going to give it a try. So thanks for sharing that with our listeners.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
There you have it. In less than 10 minutes, this is Jeff Smith along with Dr. Alan Jones. Until the next episode of Life Improvement Strategies for the Surgeon Who Wants More. Ciao.
Now, take 10 minutes and put your plan into action to practice your best.